This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Stick Tamer Bow Silencers. Are you a traditional archery hunter or shooter? Stick Tamer was specifically designed for the recurve shooter. Made of a hybrid foam rubber material, Stick Tamer is designed to deaden string slap and limb vibration. Stick Tamer reduces limb and string noise, water resistant, and lasts shot after shot. Made in the USA from a hybrid foam rubber for durability. To purchase Stick Tamer and for more information, visit 3riversarchery.com and blackwidowbows.com. Stick Tamer bow silencers are available exclusively at 3riversarchery.com and blackwidowbows.com. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls. Tonight, we've got special guest Jay Gregory from the Wild Outdoors TV show, and he was formerly with Drury Outdoors, and he was a team member there, so it's going to be a little exciting night tonight. I got co-host Dan Hall here with me. How you doing, Dan?
Good, Mike. How you doing?
Doing really good, man. I know you've been busy today with the barn and stuff, so Jay, welcome. How you been?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. Just enjoying the nice weather that we're having today here in Iowa. So it's been kind of cool, but today was nice. Makes me kind of getting me in the mood to turkey hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
I heard them gobbling this morning.
So just give us a little brief story about how your beginning started in the outdoor industry.
Well, actually, it kind of started as a hobby to begin with. Back in, in the early 80s, I graduated, I'm going to date myself here, but I graduated high school in 83. And I was just pretty much ate up with hunting from the get-go.
Yeah.
And as things progressed, started out, a friend and I were hunting, and we would go places and hunt. When one of us would kill, we had a video camera. We would just start videoing the other one. So it kind of started from a hobby, and then we kind of, we captured some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
There was a local archery shop in Kansas City that I showed the footage to, and he knew this guy named Mark Drury, who was a rep for Mossy Oak, I think, at the time.
Yep.
And he showed it to Mark, and then Mark contacted me. That's how we met. And at the time, I had went to 1 year of college on a golf scholarship, and then quit college, turned pro, and was actually in the golf program and PGA program. But I was still doing this and kind of as a hobby. And that's the time that I met Mark. And then, we got together, and of course, at that time they had been doing, Mark was a exceptional turkey caller and won world calling championships and all that, but he wanted to get into the deer thing. And so I just started from a hobby I just started filming some stuff for juries when they first started doing the deer thing. And one thing led to another, and that they were pretty successful with it. I stayed with them filmed with them for a couple years. And then I had, I'd gotten a head pro job in Chillicothe, Missouri, and there was an ABC affiliate in St. Joe, Missouri that was looking for an outdoor TV host. And I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew that that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to get in the industry and do something like that. So I got a meeting with the head of the TV station and convinced him I could do it. And the next thing I knew, I was laying in bed at night, looking up at the ceiling going, what have I got myself into? I had a lot of footage already in the can. And so we put together, this is back in the old days. I mean, I was having to drive to the TV station and sit in an editing booth for, 8-10 hours a day, putting shows together. And so we did pretty well on that ABC affiliate, and the, Outdoor Channel came to be about the same time. We sent a pilot show into them, and long story short, 33 years later, I'm still there. So
Wow, that's awesome.
it's been a pretty good run, and been very fortunate to do something that I really love to do, and make a living at it. So pretty fortunate.
So, you was talking about how you got in with Mark Drury. He really wasn't one of your mentors coming up into the outdoor industry. Who was one of your big mentors through that all?
I honestly just didn't really have any mentors.
Sure.
I had people I looked up to. I mean, as a kid, we didn't have iPhones and all that fun stuff. We had magazines, so I read a lot of articles, and I remember, it's kind of weird today, looking back. As I was growing up as a young bow hunter, I would read these stories about this guy named Miles Keller, and the two brothers. Oh gosh, I'm gonna draw a blank here. I'll think of it here in a second. But Miles Keller was one of my big ones, and it's weird now because I'm very good friends with Miles, and I've actually hunted with him and stuff, and have shared that story with him a million times about how I looked up to him and read everything that he wrote, and so I guess as far as influences goes, Barry and Gene Wenzel are the other two.
Oh, okay.
They were probably my biggest influencers as far as watching videos. I used to run to town and rent the VHS movies when they would come out. And, the very first video I think that really made me want to do it, put a video camera in my hand and do that on film, was watching a video that I don't know if any of your viewers will be old enough to remember it, but bow hunting October whitetails.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One of the first videos I ever saw, and that really made an impression on me. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to share my hunts with people. And then of course, the age of TV and getting the opportunity to do that. And it all started with video first with Drury's, and then and then I did my own video series along with the TV. But and of course, where we're at today compared to where we're at back then is it's night and day difference. But everything changes over time, and everything evolves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was something that we were talking about during or before the podcast here. I mean, we talking about the industry as a whole, the outdoor industry, and how much it's changed over the years now. And, everyone at some point in time, we've only been in this 12 years. You've been in it 30 some years. And everybody at some point in time has been burnt in the industry. And it's just not the way that it used to be. So give us your take on how the industry is today.
Well, when I first got in it, it was a lot of deals were done with a handshake, and I was always dealing with the individuals that owned the company.
Yes,
and that's kind of how I started out. Was you had to prove yourself, because obviously, if you didn't do what you said you were going to do, you weren't going to have a deal the next year. So, I mean, you did everything. You went way above and beyond, and we still do to this day, to try and keep our people happy and do the things that we promised we're going to do.
Oh, for sure.
And not try and be a sellout, to look like you're a NASCAR, driver out there just promoting. I think that's a lot of what kind of started to ruin outdoor TV a little bit, is it just turned into a big infomercial.
Yeah.
And so we've tried to always stay away from that. And I think viewers, they watch what you use and they watch what you do. You don't have to hard sell stuff.
Yeah.
And so to get back to, we started out with individuals, and then some of those individuals started partnering up with marketing groups. And there were a few big marketing groups that handle a lot of different accounts. And so I got relationships with those marketing groups. And that was okay, and it worked out fine. But even that started to have its faults, because the marketing people, obviously, they're trying to get their cut from the owners, and and then we're the ones that are actually doing everything for them. But the marketers are kind of they're the in-between guy. And then as it went further down the road, obviously, as everyone knows, you have these big conglomerates have come in and have just bought up everybody in this industry. And that's made it, I think, to me, that's the most difficult thing that the industry has had to. People in my position are like a Ralph and Vicky Stanzarello, or Michael Waddell. Some of those that have been in it, Lee and Tiffany, have been in it for a long time. They've seen how this has made a huge difference over the years. And when you used to have, like, if I had 10 commercial spots on my show, I had 10 individual relationships with the owners.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I would call them and talk to them on the phone. Yeah. Well, then what happens is 7 of those got bought up by maybe one company, a Faradyne or a GSM or a Pradco. And now you're not dealing with an owner, you're dealing with a bean counter. And in a lot of cases, I have actually met people in these companies. I shouldn't even probably say this, but I met with a company, and I won't say who it was this year. One of my companies got bought by one of the big conglomerates.
Yeah.
I went into the ATA. They're an archery company. They have nothing but archery companies under their umbrella. I'll just tell you who it is. It's Faradyne. And
right,
I was kind of thinking that myself when you said that.
So that's who it is.
Said that, I figured that out.
So Wyatt and I go to the booth because the company that we had just signed a long-term deal with last year sold to Faradyne over the last few months. To my not for being real happy about it, but it's I can't blame them for selling their company and doing what's right for their family and their business. Sure. So, but they told me that whenever this took place, that they were assured that all the contracts were going to remain, blah blah blah. The part that bothers me, and this is a perfect example of, I think, when you start talking about what's the big difference now. I went into the booth and talked to the person that was in charge there. There again, I've been in the industry 33 years. I'm a nobody. I mean, I'm not trying to be a somebody, but we've been an all archery show for 30 some years on TV.
Yeah.
Right. So this person didn't even know who I was.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, well, I told Wyatt when we walked out there, I said, this is probably not good.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of, it's no longer about relationships and individuals. It's more about, we're going to buy a company. We're going to make the numbers look good. We're probably going to cut a bunch of people out of the mix. We're going to make the numbers look good on paper, and then we're going to sell it. Or we're just going to make a bunch of money off of it. So,
sure, yeah.
And you can't fault the companies for selling to these conglomerates. I mean, it's the Walmart effect. It's like when Walmarts go into a small town and they put all the local jewelers and the local grocery stores and the local hardware store, they put them all out of business because, they it's all under one roof there, and they can they can outprice everybody. And that's kind of, what I think's happened to our industry a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It's sad in a way, but now from our standpoint, we have made a complete reverse until this last year, whenever we had this company that got sold. Every one of the companies that we're working with now, I have a relationship with the owner, and I can pick the phone up and I can call them, or they can call me. I've gotten away from the big conglomerates because every time I get involved with them, it never works out. It's just never a good deal for us. Now I know it's worked out for others, and some others still are dealing with them and having no problems, but it just hasn't worked out that well for us. I would much more prefer to have a relationship with the owner, and that way there's some accountability there for them, some accountability there for me. If I don't do my job, they're not going to keep me aboard next year. So, I feel better that way than to deal with somebody who's just a bean counter and really doesn't care anything about you or what you do or even know who you are.
Absolutely.
After being in this industry and having to deal with the businesses like I have, when me and my brother first started this, he was the one that built the calls and I was the one that dealt with the business side of things. And now that he's passed, I have to deal with both the business side of things and building the calls. So, but I would much rather, like you're saying, work things. And that's how I try to keep things, is like it used to be back in the old days. I don't deal with a lot of these big buying groups. Now, we have several different companies that we deal with or people that we partner with that do, but I would much rather stick to the smaller known businesses that will work with you one-on-one. And that's what we try to do as a company. I try to be as available as we can so that somebody can contact me. Somebody can contact one of my, guys that are, close to me that helps out a lot, that knows the business. So,
right.
I think it's just, it's just a sign. It's the world we live in today. I mean, it's why, for 25 years, people would wait to watch, to go to the, I'm speaking from when I got in to now,
yeah.
For probably 20 to 25 years, people would wait to go buy the videos whenever they would come out in July,
yeah.
or they would wait to see the new TV shows 6 months after the fact. When we'd film them, or a year after the fact, we'd film what we'd film in the fall would air the following fall.
Oh yeah,
a
year in advance.
The spring would air the following spring. Well, the way it is now, I mean, we were on for 23 years. We did 52 weeks a year. And now we're only doing 26. But the reason we're only doing 26 is because now not only do we do 26 episodes, or 13 new episodes starting July 1st, and then of course they repeat. So we're on for 26 weeks on the Sportsman's Channel. The rest of the year, and even during that time, as our hunts are being filmed, Wyatt's editing them and putting them up live on our YouTube and our Facebook so that people can see them right there. It definitely, it's hard, and it's difficult for us to do it. It's a lot of work, but it's a good thing because for all of our partners, they get immediate feedback. If somebody sees us using a certain scent or whatever product it is, a broadhead, a bow, an arrow, or whatever, they can literally see it working. Like, we're shooting this, we've got this new broadhead called a headhunter head that we shoot turkeys' heads off with. Well, they just saw that on our YouTube channel 2 days ago.
Yeah.
If they like what they saw and saw how it performs, they can go buy that head right now. So they've got it for their turkey season that's coming up in the next week or so. So it's a good situation, but it's completely different than it used to be. It's like you're getting paid half as much for twice the work now, but it's just a sign of the times. I mean, it's just
right.
Everybody. We live in a world of everyone wants immediate gratification, and they just want everything now, and that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. So I see you do a lot of hunting with your son, who's also your co-host, was Wyatt Dean. How old is Wyatt, and has this been a thing since he was real young, or how did he get into it? When did he get into it?
Wyatt is 25 years old now, and I started taking him when I was having to carry him to the blind.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
He was like 2-3 years old, and he would play with matchbox cars in the bottom of the blind while we were trying to call turkeys in. But
nice.
He's been there. He's been my mini-me ever since, and I still enjoy. He's my favorite person to still hunt with. We don't get to hunt as much together as we used to because we're split up most of the time with either self-filming or with a cameraman. But I do get to hunt with them some. We just went on a trip to Texas and had a great time and filmed each other, so that was fun. But
nice.
Wyatt's he killed his first turkey with a bow when he was 7 years old, and his first deer with a bow when he was 8, I think. And
that's impressive.
So he's been he's been on there from the very beginning, and now he does all the editing for the show. And of course, he's that age group that knows the whole social media thing, and he makes fun of Dad for not being real tech savvy sometimes, but that's just part of it. But he's a big part of everything, and he really helps me a lot. So it's fun to be able to pass it down to him and keep this thing going so that he can enjoy it, hopefully, for as many years as I have.
Definitely. Was there ever a period there when he was going through his teenage years? Did he ever go through a period where he didn't seem like he was much interested in it as he used to be, or has he always had a fire for it?
Funny you should mention that, because I could honestly say no with Wyatt. He
awesome.
He's as ate up with it or more. He just reminds me of me when I was his age.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, my daughter, who is 15, she started bow hunting, and she's been a big part of the show since she was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I'll get her in a tree this fall. She she's 15 now.
Oh, wow.
She has seemed to lose interest I don't know if well, I know that a lot of it is she's a barrel racer now, and she's ate up with she's ate up with that. And you know, and I probably, to be honest, I treated her like a son. So I probably wasn't perfect in the way I brought her up in the hunting. I was probably I was hard on her like I was on Wyatt about certain things, and boys take that a little bit better than girls do. And I may have, some of it may be my fault for being a little too harsh on her, but hopefully she'll turn around. I did last fall. She came up and I was going to spend a week with her, and I got to hunt one night with her last year because first night we went out, it was Halloween night and the stars just aligned, and we had the decoy out, and bucks would just come out of the woodwork. They were rutting, and we decoyed in a beautiful buck, and she killed it the first night. We're on camera, Big 10. So I got to hunt with her one day all fall, and I don't know if she's going to turkey hunt this spring. I kind of doubt it. So yeah, I guess I would say to the parents out there, if you got your kids, enjoy it while you can. If they're, if they're wanting to hunt, because you never know. But yeah, Wyatt, I've never had to worry about that at all. He's more ate up with it than I think. I wouldn't say more than I was, but every bit as much as I was, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen a period in my son in his teenage years. You know, he's 16 now, and I've had him in the woods since he was 4. And he's starting to get into different things. Like now, we was talking, before the podcast about your golf career and things. He's in golf, and he's in that pretty heavily right now. We're paying for him private lessons and different things like that. So he's into that, and
but he still wants the hunting. I mean,
he still wants to hunt. He still wants to fish.
With that, him missing that 8 point, that got
that really got him. And that's the awesome thing about our hunting heritage. Once something like that happens, you can miss the biggest buck of your life, and it gives you the adrenaline like you've never had before, and it brings you right back into it every year just to want to keep doing that. You know what I mean? Because he was devastated when it happened last year. He missed a big 8 point. And
that's well. I mean, and that's part of it. But you're right. That will fuel him to.
I think it has.
I think it has.
Keep that edge.
Yeah, he's always talking about it now.
Oh, he does. I said, well, son, listen, that's a story now that you have that you can share with everybody. I mean. We all have those stories. So.
Oh yeah.
So
some of us have them on video.
Yeah.
And they last forever.
Yeah. I don't have those.
Yeah, I've seen and watched plenty of those out of people. I mean, it's just it's a thing that happens. That's why it's called hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was easy, they'd call it killing.
Yep.
That's right.
So your wife Sheila, she hunts with you guys as well, correct?
She does. We've been married it'll be 3 years this summer, and she grew up on a farm in way north Minnesota. She's from Bemidji, Minnesota, way up north.
In fact, I know where that's at.
We still have 4 foot of snow up there, but
oh gosh,
it's terrible. So she's gotten into. I got her shooting a bow, and she's gotten into it. She loves it whenever we go out. She's killed a couple bucks with her bow, and she's killed her first turkey last spring. So
awesome.
She loves it. She's not crazy about. There's a couple things she's not real crazy about. She doesn't like getting up early to go sometimes, and she doesn't mind the early, but she hates cold. So that doesn't. And I give her crap all the time because she's from northern Minnesota, and I'm like, you should be used to this, but she's not. She does not like the cold, which nobody likes it when it gets really cold too. So, but I've enjoyed, and she's very analytical about everything. So I have to be careful what I tell her because she takes everything to, if I tell her to do something or suggest something, she does it. So I don't have to coach her too much. She's real good about shooting her bow, and she's a fast learner. So it's a lot of fun. It'll be fun over the next few years to see how she does with certain things. She's killed a bear with her bow. So we've had some fun hunts together. She enjoys it.
So did she hunt when she was younger at all, or not a whole lot?
She went with her dad. She never really hunted that much, but she was always around it. with her brothers and her dad. And I don't think she'd ever shot a bow until she met me. But
Oh, wow.
it was kind of a prerequisite. If you were going to be around me, you're going to have to shoot a bow. So
Right.
but she really enjoys it, and she's good at it. I find that most women
Are better.
even if they've never shot a bow before, as soon as they pick it up, most of them are. I think every woman I've ever been around is a very good shot with a bow, with archery equipment. I don't know why that is, but they all seem to be able to do it.
It's like that with guns too. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. That's just like my father-in-law. He took my daughter up on the hill there this past weekend, let her shoot the 9mm, and he took a can and turned it on its side, so you're looking at the open hole of the can. She was smoking it right through the center of it, coming out the back end. He was like, "Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me! She's a dead eye." I'm like, "Well, you seen what she did with her deer she killed this year? I mean, she can shoot a gun."
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So another thing we like to do on every episode is our salute to valor. So today, our salute to valor is going to be Mark Thomas. He was born in South Charleston, West Virginia. He joined the Army. He was in the Army for 6 years, where he was stationed in, one of them German names here, Aschaffenburg, Germany. He was also stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. When he was in Germany, he was with the 3rd Infantry Division, and when he was at Bliss, he was the 3rd Armored Cavalry Division. He did a tour to Iraq for Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and Desert Hope, as well as the Liberation of Kuwait, where he received the Liberation of Kuwait Medal. He received the Presidential Unit Citation, National Defense Ribbon with 3 oak clusters, Army Achievement Award, Army Accommodation Medal, 7th Corps Achievement Award Certificate, 1st Combat Hash Mark for 6-month combat duty. He was in Desert Storm with Alpha Company, 4th Battalion, 66th Armory Regiment with the 3rd ID. He was in the 4th Platoon. He was in Tank Number 42, which was an M1A1 Abrams, and he was discharged in September of 94. Mark, we appreciate your service, and we thank you, sir.
Well, man, that was a good one. That's a long one. He's got a lot of stuff there that he's been in.
Yeah.
Hats off to your service, sir.
Absolutely. He was definitely proud of that tank, talking about his tank. Hey, them armored infantry guys are.
Well, that James supplied that one for us.
Oh, nice.
James was in the military for 27 years as well, and he said, I have a unique story behind that tank, so he's going to tell us that one day. Oh,
nice. I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, getting back into thank you for your service there, Mark. We appreciate it to our country.
So, jumping back in, where are we at? Let's so spring turkey season started in several different states.
Yep.
Have you had the chance to get out any of these other states that began already, or are you on the board with the gobbler yet?
We have. We went down to Texas,
South Texas
last week. We went to South Texas,
Yep.
and we went down and hunted with someone that we knew, that we really just got to know at the ATA. His name's Buck Medley, and we were talking to him at dinner one night at the ATA this year, and he has a ranch down there and that he manages, and he said, come down to Texas and shoot a Rio this spring. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So we booked the trip, and Wyatt and I went down, and he was telling me about all the big hogs that he had too. And it was just, we were there for 5 days. We had a great time. We, first morning, Wyatt, we called in 2 gobblers, came into the decoy, beat it up, and Wyatt headshot one of them with dropped him in the decoys. And then that afternoon, actually Wyatt, we went to breakfast after that. I think he got food poisoning. He had to stay back in camp. So I went out and filmed myself, and I went out that afternoon and I called in 2, and I headshot the first one, dropped in the decoy. Then the second bird got on top of the first one. And so I got another arrow and I shot him too. So I got a double.
Oh, nice.
And so we had a pretty good, awesome opening day. And then as the rest of the trip went on, we were just pretty much hog hunting. And I filmed Wyatt kill a couple of the last night. He killed a really big hog. And, I have a new, I don't know, new respect or whatever for hog hunters, because I was surprised at how smart and sharp those hogs were. They were
Really?
not as easy as, I was shocked. They'd stand and wait at the bait till all the young ones got in there and made sure everything was good before they'd come in, and always checking the wind, and the wind was swirling. We did film one thing we'd never filmed before that was really cool that I think the viewers are going to like is we used these red lights, and we did a nighttime spot and stalk, and
nice.
that was pretty cool. We stalked into to 12 yards of this big white and black boar that Wyatt shot, and of course with the Luminok on his arrow, I mean, it lights it up like it's really cool. It's a very neat hunt. So that was kind of fun. We got to do some stuff we'd never done, and got to get to know Buck Medley a little bit, and it was a good time. And then we got back from there. We went directly over to Nebraska and just got back today from there. So
so y'all been busy.
We have.
So who is this Buck Medley guy? I've never heard of this guy. That's what we were talking about there before the podcast.
He did it. He's really good friends with Tim Wells. If you've watched any of Tim Wells' stuff, you've seen your viewers have probably seen Buck. He's got real blonde hair. He looks like he's a character. I mean, he's funny, but he's been all around the world. Like, I think he said he's been around the world like 20 times.
Wow.
He's been everywhere, done everything.
He's been. They made that song about him, didn't they? Been everywhere, man.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
really no, not about him.
I was like, yeah,
surely the Lord, you've heard I've been everywhere, man.
I have heard that.
Yeah, no, that's what he said. He's been around the world at least twice. I said, well, they made that song after him. Okay.
He's really into the dangerous game. With Crocs and Gators, and
I can tell that by looking at his picture on your page.
He's got some crazy stories, but he's a really, I mean, when people look at the pictures on my page, everyone always says he never smiles. The guy's a sweetheart. I mean, he wouldn't even want me to say that because he'd want everyone to think he's badass, but he's a really nice guy.
And he looks like a wild man,
but he's a nice guy. And, he hunts with spears and blowguns and all that stuff. And he's a bow hunter. So we hit it off, right away there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was neat to get to hang out with him and get to know him a little bit. So kind of fun. He had a show. You can go to YouTube and watch all 13 episodes. I think it was called, if you go on YouTube, it was on Animal Planet for one season. They did 13 episodes. I think it was called Texas Legend or Lone Star Legend.
Lone Star, yeah.
Or something like Lone Star Legend. And there was a bunch of, he about got killed. And I think that's why he didn't have a second season, because they almost killed him. So kind of crazy. But so it was fun. So then when we got done down there, we came home. Like I said, we went over to Nebraska. Opener was Saturday. Wyatt filmed Jake, one of our staff guys. They called in a gobbler, and he had shot it, and they had a great hunt. And then the weather kind of got iffy, and things were a little bit slow after that. So we came home, and we're giving it a few days. I'm actually leaving Wednesday. I'm going back to Florida for a while. I got a couple tournaments that I qualified for. I'm going to play in down there, and then I'll be back here and hit it full tilt on turkey season until, we'll finish in Minnesota the end of May.
Nice. Yeah, nice. We were going to talk about that PGA golf there at the end here, but before that, let's go ahead and talk about the Wild Outdoors TV show there on the Sportsman's Channel. What all other channels are y'all on, like Realtree 365 and a bunch of different things you're all on?
We're actually only on. Right now we've got we have our own YouTube channel where everything that we film right now goes up fairly live. Like, people could go to our YouTube channel, The Wild Outdoors.
Yep.
It's free. You just have to subscribe, and you can watch the hunt that we just talked about down in Texas, or one of the hunts. There's going to be like 3 episodes that'll air from down there. But we have that. We have our Facebook, and then obviously the Sportsman's Channel. We air July 1st through the end of the year. Yep. And then we're also on a station, or it's a streaming service called Outdoor America.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where you can see the Wild Outdoors, and so there's lots of opportunities there. There's literally hundreds of hours of footage on our YouTube channel. I mean, you can go all the way back and watch Wyatt kill his first deer with a bow when he was 7 years old. So
nice.
we've got footage that's, 22 year or how old was Wyatt's 25. I guess probably we got footage on there. Well, there's footage on there from before Wyatt was ever born. So there's some old stuff on there.
Nice. So you talking about, you can go on there and check that out now. How does YouTube change the game? Like, I know you guys are on a sportsman channel, but you're posting the stuff kind of live. Like, how does that affect? Do those partnerships are they affected by that YouTube?
Well, it's really an asset for us because the partners want, like we were talking about earlier, they want people to see the hunts as soon as they can.
Yeah.
So that, especially like with turkey season, a lot of people haven't seen this new headhunter broadhead that we're shooting. It's got 4 blades instead of 3, and it's wicked. But so they can go watch it. They can watch us shoot birds with it and see how effective it is, and then then they could go buy it. The way it used to be done in years past, we'd film all this stuff, and then they wouldn't see it till next year. So if a company got involved with us, they're really not going to get any benefit from our using their product until next year. Well, now it's literally days, before people see it, or the same day. And it just depends on how quick Wyatt can get it put together. And we do different edits, obviously, for the YouTube than we do for our TV show. It's done in different formats and stuff, but it's good. It's real good.
Good. Yeah, I was curious on that because I've seen, some of these other shows, you can get on their YouTube and see the hunt, and then it comes out like you said about 6-8 months later, and you're like, oh, I've already seen this. But yeah, I was just curious on that.
Yeah, I mean, we put a different spin on it, obviously, with what we put out with the YouTube and then put it on. And the thing we find is that there are it's weird because we've been on TV for 32 years, and we'll air some of the stuff on our YouTube channel that is maybe 10, 15 years old. We'll redo something and put it on there, and it'll be amazing how many comments we'll get of people that have never seen it. Oh, so I think you're reaching 2 totally different audiences sometimes when you're between social media and TV.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's changed a lot. It's one of the things that's changed in the last, 5 to 10 years. I think social media has kind of brought a different crowd and a new viewership into watching all of our stuff.
Well, it's kind of crazy. There's not very many people that sat down like we did back in the old days and watch a full VHS. Of course, we don't watch VHS no more, but like even on DA or DVDs, I mean, people don't sit down and watch stuff like that. It's like on the go, fast as we can get it. We want to do shorts. We want to do different things. That's I've searched different things because we've been starting to do like YouTube shorts and things. I mean, it's like anything 30 seconds and less, that is the best thing going right now.
Yeah, you know why? Because us as humans, our attention span is shrinking every day.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that it's unfortunate it's that way.
Yep.
We joked about this, and I don't mean this to be off colored, but it's kind of off colored. But we said years ago that it wouldn't be long before this is a terrible analogy, but I'm going to say it. And I hope I don't offend anyone, but we said this years ago that the hunting industry has been way behind the porn industry. The porn industry was on VHS, and then as soon as they went to, then they made the switch, went to online and streaming and everything, and the VHS went away. And it's the same exact thing now has happened with our industry.
Yeah.
It's just everyone wants they want it right now. They want it fast. They want to be able to fast forward through it to the good parts and blah, blah, blah. And the reason we ever joked about that was because years ago, like 10 years ago, back when the Outdoor Channel used to have our big Golden Moose Awards out in Vegas,
right.
they put the outdoor industry and the porn industry in the same hotel on the same night.
Are you kidding me?
No, we all ended up in the bar together.
Boy, I bet
after
that
our Gold
was
Moose
fun.
Awards and after their AVA Awards. We all ended up in the same bar together, and it was the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
Never forget that.
That
And
is
after
hilarious.
that, they quit. They didn't schedule it that way anymore. But that's whenever we were all joking about that. We're like, we should probably be paying attention to what they're doing, because just from a business, what they were doing business wise made perfect sense.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it finally happened. It's exactly what happened with the hunting industry.
That's crazy.
So, kind of weird. So I hope that didn't offend anyone by.
No, you're good. Hey, this is raw. Like we were saying, very little of this gets edited. If it is get edited any now that we've got our new Rodecaster Pro, it's in the beginning where somebody talks when they're not supposed to, or at the end, or something like that. I mean, we don't take anything out. We leave it just as it is. So that's how we like it.
All right.
So Headhunter broadheads, those are by Shockmaster, correct?
Yeah, those are Tim Wells.
Okay.
And Wyatt and I have something to do with them now too. I mean, we're kind of partnered up with them. Even on the packaging, it says "as seen on the wall outdoors."
So now, are they specifically geared towards turkey hunting?
Oh yeah.
Anything that you want to shoot, they're geared for any kind of bird. Like Tim shoots doves and ducks and geese. He's way down in the jungle of Mexico right now trying to kill one of those Tucatan turkeys or whatever they're called down there.
The peacock turkey.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, the ugly turkey. He's down there. He's way down there doing that. But he's shooting that with that head. Anything that you're trying to knock out of the air or cut the head off of. I mean, that's what it's for. And it is a bad dude. And the thing that I really like, the thing I like about this head, for one, you buy a 4-pack. When you buy them, you get 4, not 3. And it's the same price. I mean, they're $34.99. You get 4 of them.
Wow.
But they're very simple to put together. It's not like you don't have to. Back in the days of when they first came out with I can't remember what the name of that first one was that they came out with. But you had to be a surgeon to put the thing together in the dark and the blind.
Yeah.
And this one is super simple. I mean, I just carry a little box. I already have them assembled. Then I just screw them on the end of my arrow when I get, in the blind. But I shoot them with flu-flus because I'm shooting all of our birds under 10 yards. My son, Wyatt, he's got his bow tuned. He shoots with 5-inch vanes and has no problem.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So but we keep our shots very close on those. I mean, 10 yards and under is max for us shooting turkeys, because turkeys don't like to stand still even when they get in the decoys. Every once in a while you get one to stand there perfectly and take this medicine. But a lot of times their heads are bobbing around and they're slapping the decoy and, and moving around other turkeys. So it's nice to have that 4-inch cushion.
So how many guys you got on your team, talking about your team there?
Over the years, we've really scaled it down and cut back the fat, so to speak. Everyone I've got with me now does a fantastic job and has been with me for a long time. We've only got I got a couple, the Wiltsies from Minnesota. Wyatt's got, let's see, I'm going to say there's, we've got including Wyatt and I, 12 total.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So we don't have a large staff, but
that's good.
The ones we have are really good, and they get us great footage, and they're good hunters, and they're ethical, and I think they represent us well on camera, and that makes a big difference to me too. I mean, I see some of the stuff I see on outdoor TV nowadays is just makes my skin crawl sometimes when I see it, or especially some of the stuff you see on YouTube and some of the other ones. And I know I'm sounding like I'm old, but I don't feel old, but I think I am old school in some aspects. I mean, I just think you gotta, give the animal respect and
definitely,
and don't come across as an idiot if you can keep from it. And that's hard for a lot of people. And I'm sure we come across as idiots sometimes too, but we sure try not to. Sometimes it's hard, but
it is. So you talking about bows and broadheads and different things like that. You were with PSE back in the day, and now I'm going to take a guess here because I really don't know. But are you all with Matthews?
Yes, and I'll tell you, bow companies are. When I was let go of PSE, which I was shocked when it happened, but it happened and it wasn't pretty. Then I made the switch to Bear, and that did not end well. And then I made the switch to Martin, and that ended worse.
Oh my goodness!
And there again, and I don't even want to get into those stories, but it's just things have changed. I'll just put it that way. But so what we did after that was we are shooting Matthews bows now, but it's by choice. It doesn't have anything to do with a sponsorship.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
We're shooting Matthews bows. They are a partner, but they do not per se sponsor our show.
Yeah.
Right. I hope one of these days maybe they will, but I think for what we do, I mean, they just make a great product. And there's great bows out there. I mean, PSE still makes a great bow. Mm-hmm. Hoyt, PSE, Matthews, Bowtech, there's your big four. The rest of them are, I don't know how they're still in business, but
those you got Elite coming up now.
Yeah.
What's that?
That Elite bow, that's becoming really popular with a lot of people.
Yeah, that one's good too. I mean, so there's some good bows. Let's be honest, they've all copied each other. About the only thing that looks different is the name that's on them anymore.
It's kind of funny. There's
not a lot of difference in the bows.
We talk about Elite. We had Jeremy Jarrett on. He was one of the world champion archers, and he went and shot for the USA team over in Italy. He was our first podcast episode, and he shoots for Elite, and it's so different to look at how these different bow companies kind of categorized and different things like that. Like Elite's coming up, and they're really big in the industry, but you're not seeing that much of them in the hunting aspect of things. You're seeing more of them in the target realm. And then Matthews, like you're talking, they make a great product. They've been around for years now. I can't even tell you how long. I mean, at least, 50 years?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, it's at least 50 years. I know my brother used Matthews back in the day. I mean, I started out with an MQ1.
And that was
a really good bow
they ever made.
Yeah, but
I don't think they've been around for 50 years because I remember I'm 57, and I don't know how many years, but the only reason I say that's because the very first compound that really. One of the first compounds that was really popular was the Bear Whitetail 2, I think. And there were a couple before that. Browning, I believe, came out with the first wheel bow with cables. But it wasn't far long after that whenever Matthews came along. Matthews, if I remember correctly, they partnered with McPherson.
Yep,
they did.
Because Matt McPherson is actually the owner of he is the owner of Matthews.
Yep.
Yeah, so McPherson's been around for 50 years. He's been building them for 50.
Yeah, so that
about 31 years.
Okay.
So roughly 31 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I will say this about the Matthews bow. Anyone who's not shot this Phase 4, shoot it.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Man,
it's crazy. That is the quietest, deadest bow I've ever shot.
Wow.
I mean, they all shoot good. It doesn't shoot any better than last year's model, in my opinion, because it shot great too. But this thing, it's like you can't even hear it go off. And it doesn't even feel – they've got that material in the limbs.
Yep.
And I guarantee you're going to see everybody copying that before long because they hit a home run with that. Whatever they did, it made the biggest difference in the vibration of the bow that I've ever felt. It's like the first shot, as soon as you shoot it, you'll notice. I mean, it's noticeable.
And that was which one was that?
The Phase 4, the
Phase
new one this year.
The new Phase 4. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the new Phase 4.
Yeah, they've kind of been, they've kind of set the mark for all these other companies, really. I mean, Matt McPherson started, our Matthews Archery back in 92. That's what we was just looking up. So 31 years, pretty much.
31 years. That sounds right.
He's the creator of the solo cam. You know,
Yep.
one of the most popular cam designs ever.
You want to know that? I think if you look this up, though, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I believe he ended up having to either pay a royalty or he bought the patent from, you know who the first solo cam was?
Mm-mm.
It was Pearson.
Really?
Pearson actually came out with the first single cam bow, if I'm not mistaken. Now, one of your viewers may
Wow.
I'm going to have to look that up.
they figure out that I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's right. I think Pearson was the first company to come out with a single cam bow a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a majorly searched topic. So,
Yeah, it
Ben Pearson.
has. Martin.
Yeah, that's something that we'll have to get into. So,
Check that out.
so talking about this,
it was Martin Archery's Dynabow in the late 70s was the first single. No, not single. No, that ain't right. That's a single cam. Okay, research.
so
You'll have to look that up.
yeah, we'll have to get into that. So talking about, we've talked about hunting, we've talked about a little bit of everything in the outdoor industry, but you're not only a hunter, you're a golfer as well. You said that, you know, during college you had golfed and, you know, got into the pro circuit there a little bit, and you're back into the pro circuit. So how's that going?
Well, I'm not really.
It's kind of like the amateur, I guess.
I'm an amateur golfer. I
yeah.
got my amateur status back. I turned pro right out of college. I went 1 year of college and decided that I wanted to get in the golf industry. So
Yeah.
I had the opportunity at the time to get into the PGA program, which basically they had their own college. You acquired so many points. It took 4 years to become an A1. And then I got my first head pro job, and I did go down. I played some Winter Series stuff back in the day. There was, I think it was called the Hogan Tour back in those days, which is now the Corn Ferry Tour. But so I did try and play some, but it wasn't for me. I didn't have physically, I might have had it, but mentally I did not have it for sure. And so when it was an easy choice for me to get into the outdoor industry, whenever I had to make a choice between doing a TV show or staying in the golf business, and I got out. Now, as I got older and I got close to 50, I started playing competitively again. And the reason being because obviously you're considered a senior after 50. Yeah. And one of my goals was that I wanted to play against the big boys at least once. And in 2019, I qualified for the U.S. Senior Open and got to go play against all my childhood heroes in the 2019 U.S. Senior Open.
Yep.
And
it
was at the Warren course out in Notre Dame. And that was the best experience of my life. It was awesome.
I can only imagine.
So I'm still playing competitively. At a year and a half ago, I was all the way down to, I was ranked number 8 in the world. Now I'm 39th in the world. So I'm trying to get my ranking back up there so I can get some automatic bids into some of these senior events. But yeah. I did just qualify for the Florida Senior Am and the Florida Senior Open. So I'll be playing in those coming up in the next 2 weeks. And then, back to the turkey, and then I've got a pretty elaborate golf schedule this summer too. So
yeah,
we shall see. I enjoy it. I figure I better do it now while I still can.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations and good luck there with that.
Oh, thank you. I do enjoy it.
So I got one question before we go. We were talking, heavily turkey and things like that. Have you always been a hooks custom call user?
Funny, I actually, it's kind of a sad story, to be honest with you. Last year, Scott Hooks, a friend of mine, hooked he and I up, and we talked on the phone. I had heard of Hooks before. I know they've been in business for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we signed on with them last year. And I talked to Scott about a month ago. I was on the phone with him. We ordered our stuff for this spring. Mm-hmm. And he put all of our calls together and made them for us and sent them. And I get a phone call about 4 days after we received our calls that Scott was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And
we'd been following that.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly what happened, but he had a brain bleed.
Yeah.
And went into the hospital, and literally within 24 hours he died.
Yep.
So I honestly don't know where we're using the Hooks calls right now. And I haven't even spoken to him about what's going to happen going forward. I just hope that, I hope their business survives, and obviously our thoughts are with their family and everything. And I know it shocked everybody so bad.
Yeah, it did.
Because
and
it was so sudden.
We've known Scott. I met him back in, it was probably 2009, 2010 at the Grand Nationals in WTF down there in Nashville. And Shane Simpson introduced me to him. Shane Simpson is one of his main guys and has been with him for years. And we had Shane on about a month ago. And, it's heartbreaking that happened. But I'm sure that he had surrounded himself with good people and, had taught them and handed down the things that need to be done for the business that were carried on. Yeah.
Well, I hope so. And I hope they all find peace with everything. That would be tough. And I think if memory serves me correctly, I think he was just 59 or 60 years old.
Yeah, he wasn't very old. He was still young in the industry, really. I mean, they've been in it a long time, and he's a great man.
Yep.
And all the other call makers in the country, I mean, all of them in the world really know who he was. And
absolutely.
When you make calls, custom calls and things like that, you see the people that are in the industry that are actually in the industry for what it is,
Yep. That was why I signed on with him, was just talking to him over the phone. I knew that this guy was real. Yep. I knew he loved what he did, and he cared about the quality of his stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he was just a really good guy. And I just this is a perfect fit for us. And
man, I'm telling you, down there when his guys were on stage, he was right on the front row rooting them on. I mean, and he was right in the booth with them selling them calls.
You bet. Yeah.
It was great.
Well, I hate it, but I hope they're able to continue on and lead on his legacy. So
yeah, for sure. Our thoughts and prayers are still with them during this process, and hope that they get things, on the smooth path out.
Yep.
All right, Jay. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this evening.
Absolutely.
We've taken up about an hour of your time, so we know how valuable time is, and we sure appreciate your time with us and allowing us to talk to you this evening.
Well, guys, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on here, and I appreciate the opportunity. And if anyone out there, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, swing over there and you can watch the hunts we were just talking about, and follow along. And good luck to everybody, and good luck to you guys, and continue success with your podcast, and shoot a big old gobbler this spring.
We sure appreciate it. Everybody, thanks for listening this evening. Be sure to check Jay Gregory and the Wild Outdoors out on their YouTube channel and the Sportsman's channel. All those links for their YouTube channel and the Sportsman's channel and different things like that will be posted in our description when we upload our episode. So be sure to go to On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls on Facebook. Check us out on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Music, Spotify. We're on about 20-some different networks that go nationwide. So be sure to check us out on there, and thanks, everybody, for listening. We sure appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys.
This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Will Jewelry and Loan. When you need cash and you need it fast, check out Will Jewelry and Loan. Come on in with your jewelry, firearms, electronics, tools, lawn equipment, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, and even four-wheelers. They will beat any competitor's loan amount, and that's a fact. Will Jewelry and Loan guarantees faster and more cash for your loan than any other company in the area. They have your cash you need fast. Check them out today on their Facebook page or give them a call at 304-768-5101. Stop in and talk with them at 5523 McCorkle Avenue Southwest, South Charleston, West Virginia. Will Jewelry and Loan, 304-768-5101. This episode of On the Limb with Nature's Voice Game Calls is brought to you by Backwater Truck Supply, located at 100 Armor Creek Road in Nitro, West Virginia, right across from the Town & Country Supply. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at BackwaterTruckSupplyWestVirginia.com. Backwater Truck Supply specializes in accessoring your ride to your liking, new or old. Does your Jeep or truck need lifted or a leveling kit installed? They've got you covered. New tires or minor automotive repairs? They got you covered there as well, with a full-service lift along with a wheel balancing machine. They are affiliates with some of the top brands in the automotive industry. Contact them today at 304-610-8699 or check them out at BackwaterTruckSupplyWestVirginia.com.